And, how's the city treating you so far?
It's been pretty good. For the most part, we've gotten...
The drama surrounding DJonai Carrington has reached an almost cinematic level in the 2025 WNBA season. And the events of July 26th have cemented her place as one of the league's most polarizing figures. In a game that pitted the Dallas Wings against the Golden State Valkyries, fans witnessed what some are already calling the single worst officiating decision in professional basketball history. It wasn't just a missed call, it was a moment so egregious, so baffling, that it sent shockwaves across the WNBA community. And the twist that made it unforgettable was that the player on the receiving end of this injustice was none other than DJonai Carrington, a name synonymous with controversy, hard fouls, and polarizing debates about what crosses the line between aggressive defense and dirty play. With under 2 minutes left in the game, Dallas was trailing by 3, and every possession was a lifeline. Janelle Saloon launched a deep three-pointer that clanged off the rim, igniting a mad scramble for the rebound. Carrington, always quick and calculating, sprinted after the ball but made a veteran move. She held back and let it roll out, ensuring Dallas would keep possession. In that instant, she looked composed and in control, a picture of textbook awareness. But chaos was just a heartbeat away.
It doesn't even make sense to me, but no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually.
Out of nowhere, Tiffany Hayes barreled down the court like a runaway train. Carrington was stationary, bracing herself, and shielding the ball when Hayes crashed into her from behind with such force that both players went tumbling into the courtside seats, sending Carrington sprawling into the lap of a stunned fan. By any rational standard, this was a foul on Hayes. She initiated all the contact, out of control and reckless. And yet, in a twist that defied belief, the referees blew the whistle and called the foul on Carrington. The arena gasped. Commentators hesitated, stammering as they processed what they had just seen. Replays showed the sequence in painful clarity. Carrington standing her ground, Hayes plowing into her, and Carrington paying the price. The referee's decision left seasoned analysts and casual fans alike.
Defense, obviously Chris coached me before in Connecticut, and he was the defense.
Dumbfounded. It wasn't just the wrong. Call it was a call that defied basketball logic. Worst case scenario, it should have been a foul on Hayes, maybe even a flagrant given the violent nature of the collision. Instead, the league's most controversial player found herself punished for simply existing in the path of chaos. Yet the most fascinating part of this saga wasn't the play itself. It was the reaction. Normally a moment like this would trigger immediate outrage on social media. Fans would cry foul. Analysts would dissect the play frame by frame. And the league would feel the pressure of a public, demanding accountability. But this wasn't a normal moment, and DJonai Carrington isn't a normal player. The overwhelming response from the WNBA community wasn't sympathy, it was satisfaction.
Struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game and then we play a bad.
Comment sections filled with variations of the same message. Good. Karma finally caught up with her. For many fans, this wasn't a travesty, it was poetic justice. To understand why, you have to look at the trail of controversy Carrington has left in her wake. For months, she's been the face of the WNBA's conversation around reckless play. She poked Caitlin Clark in the eye in a moment that went viral, triggering debates about intent and sportsmanship. She delivered hard fouls that sent players like Skylar Diggins and Ariel Atkins crashing to the hardwood, sparking outcry from opposing fan bases. And just recently, she closed out on Gabby Williams in a way that left the forward without proper landing space, leading to a rolled ankle. Each incident chipped away at her reputation, building a narrative that Carrington was the league's enforcer.
Your teammates out and figure out the new system, but the pace and physicality and all of that.
Player who played right up to Wand, often over the line of what's acceptable. So when Tiffany Hayes launched into her on July 26th, and the referees inexplicably punished Carrington instead, the reaction was shaped as much by her history as by the play itself. People didn't see a victim of bad officiating. They saw a player finally tasting the bitter side of the chaos she'd often been accused of creating. The word karma trended among WNBA fans as clips of the collision circulated online. Even those who admitted the call was atrocious couldn't resist framing it as cosmic payback. The call itself proved costly for Dallas. What should have been a crucial possession for the Wings instead turned into a Golden State opportunity, and the Valkyries capitalized. Momentum shifted decisively, and the Wings saw a 12-point lead evaporate into a 10-point defeat.
I think the style of basketball that they play is very exciting. It's tough to guard. They're constantly moving.
For a team clawing for every win in a tight playoff race, the implications could ripple into the postseason. Yet in the aftermath, the basketball world seemed more focused on the narrative than the scoreboard. The irony of the moment was layered and almost cinematic. For months, Carrington had danced on the edge of league discipline, picking up flagrant fouls, only to see some of them rescinded on review. She'd been the subject of heated debate, from pre-game shows to fan podcasts, about whether the WNBA was doing enough to address dangerous play. And through it all, she had largely escaped being the victim of officiating blunders, even as other players endured calls that left fans fuming. But on this night, the basketball gods, or at least the WNBA referees, delivered a plot twist that felt scripted. Her statistical line in the game was
I think, I don't know what type of minutes I'm going to get, will look like, but just when I'm out there,
pedestrian for points. It's 4 rebounds and 1 assist in 15 minutes, but numbers weren't the story. Reputation was. Fans and media alike seized on the moment as a reflection of how public perception can define a career as much as raw ability. Even when she was clearly wronged, even when the replay showed the injustice in high-definition clarity, Carrington could not escape the weight of her own narrative. Her critics didn't just shrug off the call, they reveled in it. From a league perspective, the incident was a microcosm of 2 intertwined problems: inconsistent officiating and the challenge of managing player reputations. WNBA refereeing has been under a microscope all season, with blown calls and critical moments threatening the league's credibility. Fans want to believe that games are decided by the athletes, not by the whistle. But moments like this fuel cynicism and frustration, especially when the beneficiary is a player whose image has become toxic to large segments of the fan base. The fact that some Golden State fans admitted the call was indefensible only added to the sense that something fundamental was broken. Carrington herself has tried to push back on the dirty player label.
I think reflecting back on my entire career, whether the beginning when I didn't play in...
On social media, she has vented about being misunderstood, insisting that she just plays hard and makes basketball plays. But the events of July 26 illustrated how little goodwill she has left. Her protestations fell flat because, fair or not, her past actions have written a story the public is unwilling to rewrite. When a player reaches a point where the basketball world celebrates their misfortune instead of condemning the injustice, it's a warning sign for both the individual and the league. The karmic dimension of this saga becomes even more striking when viewed in the shadow of Caitlin Clark. Clark, the league's brightest star, handled her own run-ins with Carrington and the infamous eye poke with grace and restraint. She avoided fueling the drama, letting her game speak for itself. In contrast, Carrington's confrontations, her social media spats, and her physical style of play have all combined to create a villain narrative that now feels entrenched.
That's the main reason I'm not doing it, is to be honest, I'm pretty mentally, physically, emotionally.
The juxtaposition is stark. One player has become the WNBA's beacon of sportsmanship and marketability, the other its lightning rod for controversy. And on July 26th, when the scales of basketball justice seemed to wobble, it was hard not to see the moment as the universe balancing itself. For the league, this episode offers a sobering lesson. The WNBA's growth depends on credibility. Credibility depends on trust. Trust that games are officiated fairly, that rules are applied consistently, and that star players are both celebrated and held accountable. When fans start rooting for bad calls as a form of karmic punishment, the league risks losing its moral center. Carrington's saga isn't just about one player's reputation. It's about how the league navigates. It's the intersection of competitive integrity and public perception. As the dust settles, Carrington faces a crossroads. talented player with the potential to impact games on both ends of the court. But talent alone cannot erase a reputation cemented by months of hard fouls, viral clips, and social media missteps. The July 26th incident could serve as a wake-up call, a chance to rebuild her image before the narrative calcifies beyond repair. Because if this story proved anything, it's that in professional sports, reputation is both shield and sword. And once the court of public opinion turns against you, even the most blatant injustice can feel like fair play to everyone watching. For fans and analysts alike, the night DJonai Carrington went from aggressor to victim was unforgettable. It was a cautionary tale about how quickly the game can turn, about how perception can shape reality, and about the thin line between playing hard and playing dirty. In a season already rich with drama, this might go down as the defining karma moment of 2025, a story that will be replayed, debated, and dissected for years to come.
You know, when we're successful, it really starts on defense for us.
And for Carrington, the message is clear. In the WNBA, you can survive a bad call, but surviving a bad reputation is another story entirely.